thank you for tuning in as always. Thanks for all your kind comments, likes, subscribes, shares, discussions, all very, very much appreciated. Right, as per my small short I did a little earlier, car is clean to a reasonable standard. We have got the Auto Finesse Revitalise kit out, ready to have a look at. And this is the section that we're going to be having a blast of. So you can see the paint is, hopefully you can see that break, some shine, no shine. So it might be that the top coat's dead and that's the end of it. But we shall see. We shall see. It can't hurt from having a little polish. And I have in the past applied a small amount of carnauba wax and that has done quite well. Anyway, let's get onto the table and we'll start going through the contents of the Auto Finesse kit. So, got this quite some time ago from Slim's Detailing. Partner bought it for me for Christmas or my birthday. They're both around about the same time, so I easily get them mixed up. My birthday's near Christmas. Anyway, so it was the DAS 6 polisher and the Auto Finesse polishing kit. So we'll have a quick look at what you get in the kit first, and then we'll buzz over the polisher itself. So in the kit you get 3 different types of polishing compound that are designed to be used in order 1, 2 and 3. And again, I'm not an expert, so this will be, as I often say for the channel, my first time is your first time. So I'm going to go through it exactly as per the instructions, and you start off with compound 1, restoring compound, then compound 2, the polishing compound, and then compound 3, the refining compound. And depending on the amount of cutting you need to do, if it's just a light polish, you could start with this. I think when I did my headlights, I started with that and just used that, and that was it. But if you need to do a high cut level, this is cut level 4, that's cut level 3, that is cut level 2. So if you need to do a high cut, you start with this one. And compound 1 is used with pad number 1, which are all here, obviously all stuck together. They're all ordered, numbered. So you have pad 1 for use with compound 1, and then you have pad 2 for use with compound 2, and you have pad 3 for use with the refining compound. In the packet you get a toothbrush for cleaning the polishing pads after you've finished. You also get some pretty reasonable quality microfibers, and you also get the, apologies for putting that in front of the camera, you also get the smaller backing plate, a 5-inch backing plate for the smaller pads, which I don't have yet but probably will get in the future. And you also get a spanner. And one last thing in the packet is the pad prep, pad primer. So that's what you spray on the pads before you get going. Okay, so we'll put them to one side for a minute. I'm strategically trying to keep this away from the ugliness in the background. So we'll just move this around a little bit, and you get the polisher itself. It is quite heavy. It is quite heavy. It feels well made actually. I was going to do a full unboxing for the channel, but bizarrely the box just became unglued, and when I picked it up out of the valeting storage cupboard recently, the whole lot just went slump and fell out. So you fit the handle yourself. That is adjustable, so it can be bolt upright, and then it goes in sort of, I don't know, 10-degree increments. You fit the backing plate using the spanner provided, and it has obviously the standard adjustable speed, and that goes from 1 to 6. And when we get going, we'll start on a low speed, and then as you feel comfortable with holding it, its motion, etc., etc., you feel comfortable, then we'll accelerate to number 3 or 4. So the instructions say you may not always need to use stage 1 restoring compound. Depending on the severity of scratches and vehicle paint type, paint hardness can vary significantly between different makes of cars. So we advise always starting with number 2. Number 2 polish first and number 2 pad, and then see if this attains the desired results. If not, move to the restoring compound number 1 and pad type number 1. Before you start, always start with clean, decontaminated paintwork. Check if your car needs clay bar treatment prior to polishing. Simply run your hand over the surface. Well, I've been round and cleaned the car this morning and it's ready to rock and roll. Mask off any sensitive areas such as plastic and aluminium trim. We can ignore that bit. Attach the pad to the polishing machine and add a spritz of pad prime to the surface. This is to eradicate the likeliness of dry scrubbing and lubricates the pad to work smoothly. Apply 2 small pea-sized amounts, I'm probably going to do 4, of product to the pad and apply to the paint surface. The machine should always be started and stopped whilst on the paintwork to avoid product sling. With the machine set to the lowest speed, spread the product across the section 2 foot by 2 foot and then raise the machine speed to somewhere between 4 and 6 depending on what feels comfortable to work at. Apply moderate pressure and work in overlapping passes. Work the polish until almost clear. The average time per set should be around 1 minute 50 seconds. After each set, remove the polish using the microfiber towel supplied and check with a strong light source. And repeat above through each stage of the system. Compound 1 with pad 1, compound 2 with pad 2, compound 3 with pad 3. So we're going in with number 2 to start. So we'll get the correct pad, which is yellow, and we'll get that, just so I can show how that attaches, we'll get that centered on the backing plate. Oh, I'm going to move that. It's not quite as centered as I wanted. I do like things to be perfectly aligned and accurate. And one last thing to say before we get into that is just that one particular nice thing to note is, for once, they've really thought about the cable. So the cable is epic, which is great. I'm not going to take a guess, but you're looking at sort of 12 foot long. Right, I'll get the DJI on top of the car and we'll face it outwards, looking at the spoiler, and we'll see how we get on. Right, I hope that shot's okay. And one of the reasons I'm having a bash at this today is because Subaru is now booked in for paint. It's got a couple of squirts of panel wipe just to make sure there's no previous coatings on here at all. Anyway, yeah, so going back to that, Forester is booked in for paint. So we've got a month. I've got a month with the car. And then it's away for a month having paint. My apologies, just getting the extension lead. Yeah, so it's having everything. Full respray. I cannot wait. So we'll try and get this on cam. So it says, shake well before use, spray a fine mist onto the pad surface for initial use. So I'm going to make sure that's well and truly misted over. So we're going pad 2 with compound 2. And apologies, I just went to grab a microfiber. So let's see. You can see that. I want to make sure that we're focused on the spoiler and not necessarily so much me. And you don't need to see me applying 4 pea-sized dots to the pad. I'm sure you can all imagine what that looked like. So make sure we're on number 1. Just going to dot that around, and with it applied to the car to stop splatter, we'll get it going, and then we'll start to increase the speed once I'm comfortable. So that is on number 4. And we're aiming for around about 1 minute 40. Even pressure. We'll just go till that's all rubbed in, which it is. And then clean side of a microfiber towel. Ooh, well, what do you know? I didn't foresee that happening. I had a little joke with a good friend of the channel just before shooting this video. And he said, you know, he's looking forward to the polishing aspect of things. And I said to him, don't expect too much. It's my first go. Anyway, and I also said to him, you know, the paint on the spoiler is absolutely dead as a dodo. However, I mean, it's not show winning, and we're not there yet. But as we look over here, you can see we're starting to break through. Got a little bit of that sort of cloudiness still here. We're starting to break through and get a little bit of a shine here. But look at the difference. Absolutely incredible. Now, I'm a little bit dubious about polishing too much of this section and leaving that, just in case it's not even. So I'm going to suggest that this is enough to see that difference. So we're starting to get a nice shine about that side. And as we come back here, you can see that clear, defined break and how bad it was. So that's good. Right, let's pause, get this back on. I'll re-stoke the device and then we'll go over the whole thing with number 2 again. I'll pay a little extra attention to that, hopefully to bring it up to the same level as this part, and then we'll see how we're getting on. Well, I'm glad I'm not on the camera too much. I just dropped it all down myself. And I'm not going to get changed. Right, so we'll get a little bit extra on this panel, this part. Obviously, the intention is to do it all again. So start on number 1, get it all spread, and then gradually increase the speed. Kind of work this side a little bit more. Want to always make sure the pad stays moist, otherwise you might burn the paint. So if it looks like it's drying at any point, just apply some more. Which is what I'm going to do right now, just to bring that other side up into balance. And one thing I will do, which I've been conscious of, that I've seen other people do, which is throw the lead over your shoulder, because that prevents you from tripping over it and causing an accident. So on slow, we'll just mix it all in, and then once it's all spread, start to work up the speed. And let's see where we're at. Well, it felt good. I'm feeling confident. Lovely. If you're wondering why there's a slight vibration, a body shop that kindly did some paint on my car against my will. It got damaged in the workshop once, a few years ago. And so it went away to a friend of the workshops to do a quick fix on the boot, and unbeknownst to me, they didn't reattach the spoiler properly. The spoiler is now, when I had a look to see why it was loose, under the cap there is glue, what looks like kitchen glue, kitchen tile sealer, and that's why we're getting a little bit of vibration. Sorry. I'll start cleaning the car, won't I? As you do. Anyway, so nice. This was like that, sort of dull and marred, and now we're like this. So we're starting to see some good results, and I don't think it will hurt to go straight to refining polish. And if anyone's screaming at the camera and they know better, well, You'll have to tell me in the comments. Because, you know, for me, this is my first time. I'm going cautious. But anyway, what I will say, it's never had that level of shine. Reasonably good paint. This has always been awful. Very similar to that. And this is quite indicative of where that was a minute ago. So I'm going to go straight in for the, let's have a look before I say something wrong. So we're skipping using number 1 and we're going straight, we were using number 2 with number 2 pad. Now we're going to use number 3 with number 3 pad. And that's pad 1. This is pad number 3. Previously used once on the headlights. So we will do the quick cleaning process just to declog that. Right. So we're going in with pad number 3. Revitalizing, refining compound. I didn't go 5p size dots because I accidentally put a little bit too much on. So we've got 3 large size dots. Lead out the way so you don't break your neck. And I will say, I meant to video the cleaning with the supplied toothbrush, but I accidentally forgot that. I'll go through that in a minute. So we'll start at number 1, get it spread, like so, and then bring up the speed. We can go through the pad cleaning in a moment. Right, where's my cloth? Let's double check we are recording. And it's always good just to keep an eye on the panel just in case it's starting to dry out. You know, the product. You always need the product on. Well, who knew? Who knew? Hope you like my concentrating face. I was concentrating very hard because obviously I have it in mind. Ooh, you know, what if because you might have seen I nearly slipped. I'm just cautious. I know the car's getting painted, but I'm cautious about, I don't want to damage it and I don't want to ruin my video. Well, I am very impressed. I know they do say, and I've been studying the forensic detailing channel, his guide, a beginner's guide to polishing, which is very, very interesting. But even if you've got a car that's absolutely mullered and needs loads of polishing, you can only go so far. Yeah, because you're going to take off more than what is physically there. Anyway, So that is great. I don't know if you can still see on camera, but there's still some dullness there, a little bit there, and a little bit here. But I'm going to try and feed that with carnauba in a moment. But God, I keep thinking I'm filming the wrong part. It just looks mad. Normally when I accidentally film this bit on camera, you think, oh God, it looks horrible. But you can see it has rejuvenated some of the shine. And as you know, the reason cars look good when they're cleaned and polished is because you improve the flatness of the surface, and therefore the reflection bouncing back off the sky or your test light and then into your receptors in your eyes tell you that this surface is shiny, and that's why a clean car is so pleasing. So we were like this, really bad, and I didn't think it would ever come up this good, not in a million years. So I'm really pleased. Right, we'll get this on the table. I'll just go through the cleaning process, and then we'll get some carnauba on here and give that a good hand polish, and then we can wrap that one up. I think I'm going to chalk that up as an absolute winner for me. That was great. So this is the cleaning process that I forgot to record earlier. So make sure you're set to the lowest setting. Number one, get your toothbrush, flicker on, build up the speed, and then just run the toothbrush over the surface of the pad just to get rid of some of the polish that's in the fibres of the pad, or the little holes. And that will do. And as any long-term viewers of the channel know, I use CarPro MFX for car cleaning, cleaning my car cleaning products. Just whiz that round. And CarPro MFX states that it's also good for polishing pads. Anyway, I'm going to use a small amount of this, a little bit of Auto Smart wax. Great stuff. Just going to get a little bit of this just to work that in by hand into the spoiler, and then we'll have a look, see where we're at. So make sure paintwork's clean, usual, and then work it in with a damp sponge or cloth. For me, that is going to be a microfiber. Reason I'm using this, I've had it in stock for ages. I've previously had great results with it, and before testing the polisher, this is what I've often used if I'm having one of those mad days where Fozzie's getting everything, like a full shakedown, decontamination, clay bar, glaze, maybe some sort of quick and dirty pseudo ceramic like Chemical Guys Hydro Slick. Then I quite enjoy working this in to the spoiler and those pesky roof bar mounts, and I've had reasonable results with that. It seems to sort of feed the paint, and it would last, I don't know, 6 months, and then start looking all claggy again. Anyway, recently it looked so bad I'd kind of just given up. Anyway, so we'll just work that in. I'm not trying to polish, I'm just trying to work it in now. So radial motion, good. I'm not intending to scratch anything. There are now very few scratches, which is great. Few little marks that no amount of polishing is ever going to get rid of. We'll just make sure that's all worked in. It's lovely and greasy, this product. Really nice to use. Make sure that's all worked in evenly. Maybe get a little bit down the back end. Make sure it's all worked in. Allow 15 minutes to dry or cure to a haze. So I'll pause, go and do something interesting for a moment, and then be back and buff it off in a mo. Well, I'm going to call that cured to a haze. That's as much time as I have. Always on the clock. But it's blazing hot, so hopefully it's done its business slightly quicker than if it was autumnal. Well, I would say that it's the best it's ever looked. I'm not going to complain. There's room for improvement, but it is miles better than it was. So I think for the next video, we'll have a go on the roof bars, because they're horrific too. And then once I've got a little bit more practice under my belt, we're going in for bonnet. Just wiping off some residual polish. Make sure she's putting her best foot forward. It's interesting really. Paint is lovely and flat now, which is good. And I can see a little bit of the sparkle in the metallic paint on the edge, which is an encouraging sign. You can almost see the half that got a little bit more action. But as I say, there's only so far you can go, because otherwise we start losing top coat and it's never going to look good, no matter how much polishing I do. So give that one more pass and then we'll have a little look at the results. You can see it's nice and shiny now anyway. That's for sure. So this is where we've finished up. So the paint on the boot is good. So you can see a nice comparison, and you're starting to see a lot more shine in the spoiler. Certainly a lot more than was there initially. We've still got that sort of cloudy haze in here, but possibly that's just years of damage. But we'll just do one last swift across here. So this is how bad it was when we started. So as we pan across, you can see significantly better. Let's just get the gimbal up, sorry about that. So yeah, if we get that in shot, you can see that great comparison. We were here, awful, and now we're here. And you've got a decent shine about the entire spoiler. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. I really did. I was really nervous, cautious, felt nervous throughout, but I really enjoyed it. And I hope that gives you a good, I know there are better starter kits out there, but I hope that gives you a good overview of what that particular kit from Slim's Detailing is like. I'll put a link to that in the description. I'm quite pleased with it. Like I say, I know there's loads better out there, but I'm quite pleased with it, and the results speak for themselves really. An amateur having a little bash got a pretty good result out of it, so pleased. Anyway, like I say, hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you for tuning in as always, and I very much hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. See you again soon. Bye bye.